Defensively, who has stood out? Who are some of the guys that are going to be household names as we get the Buckeyes season rolling?
Yeah, we've heard a lot of good things about this defense and that it should be better than it's been the last 2 years. And it starts up front with the way that apparently this defensive line has been getting after the quarterback. You talk about Zach Harrison coming back for his fourth year, but I think the guys everybody has their eyes on are Jack Sawyer, the Ohio native, who has been basically baby Bosa since he was 14 years old, and then JT Tuimoloau, the other five-star who's from Washington, who showed up here in July last year, basically a week before fall camp, and ended up having a real impact, which was already impressive. So what does he look like after he's gotten the chance to have a normal offseason of college football? When you talk about a program like Ohio State, where you're used to seeing those generational, once-in-a-lifetime edge rushers, they haven't had that the past 2 seasons, basically since Chase Young left. If there's anybody who's going to be that, it's going to be either Jack Sawyer or JT Tuimoloau, two former five-stars coming into their own in year two.
Talk about the linebacking core. What do you see there, and who are some names that we should listen out for?
Yeah, lot of depth. It's out of the upside is there, but the upside is young with a guy like C.J. Hicks. We'll see if he ends up getting into the mix, but it's been made clear to us that Steel Chambers and Tommy Eichenberg are your starting linebackers, and so that's who you should expect to see take the field against Notre Dame and basically get the prime of the snaps in that game and maybe the rest of the season here, unless guys can make some moves. But behind those two, obviously Chip Trayanum, who is the Northeast Ohio native, who was a running back at Arizona State before transferring here and switching over to linebacker the way we saw Steel Chambers do last season. He and Cody Simon are probably their backups. But the guy I would say pay attention to, like I mentioned earlier, is C.J. Hicks. This is a five-star linebacker who might have this type of superstar potential at that position we haven't seen since maybe Ryan Shazier. So is this a guy who, as the season goes on, we see him start to get more and more snaps as he learns more and more about how to play college football?
Let's go to that secondary. Usually pretty good. Who are the names this year?
I think the secondary has potential to be one of the best in the country. But everybody's got a hit. Obviously Cameron Brown is back, but can he get through a full season without having nicks and bruises? Denzel Burke, as a true freshman, doing what he did was impressive. Can he continue to build on that? You've got Jordan Hancock behind him, who is a sophomore now coming into his own, who might be able to pop this year the way I'm talking about JT and Jack on the defensive line. And then this is a safety-driven defense, and they've got 6 safeties that they can rely on at those 3 positions. You've got Lathan Ransom and Ronnie Hickman at the free safety, which they're calling the adjuster. You've got Josh Proctor and Court Williams at the bandit, which is the strong safety. And then at that nickel safety, that nickel corner spot, you've got Tanner McAllister, the Oklahoma State transfer, who he's basically the only guy who knows Jim Knowles' system in and out when he got here, because he spent the last 4 years of his career playing for Jim Knowles at Oklahoma State. And then behind him, you've got Cameron Martinez. So that secondary's got a lot of depth and a lot of upside as long as these guys hit.